of a look at this year's nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But right now, one of us went to see Rush the other night, the noted prog rock legendary trio from Canada. And with his review of this, here is Danny.
All right.
Yes.
Now, first off, can we set the table here as
you
far
can do
as,
whatever you want, Corby.
as far as Rush goes, because I did not know that you were a fan. Matter of fact, we've made so much fun of Rush on this show in particular. I didn't know anybody was a fan.
I think that we've made more fun of current adults that continue to be Rush fans, because I was into them in junior high, like 82.
Sure.
And that didn't really carry over even into high school. It was like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then I was pretty much done with them.
Moving Pictures
That was the album for me.
was a revolutionary record for all of us junior high kids back in the day. Tom Sawyer and Closer to the Heart and all that stuff.
I'd never heard the bass guitar played like that. With, Geddy Lee was a very innovative, influential bassist, and I'd never heard bass playing like that. I'd never heard drumming like that technical and insane.
See,
in a rock band.
That's another thing is, as kids, Mike, we were brainwashed, and I don't know if it was anybody was right on this or wrong necessarily, but we were brainwashed into thinking that when somebody asked you who the greatest drummer was in the world, you automatically had to respond Neil Peart.
Yeah.
You had to. That meant you knew something about rock and roll.
Right. Well, I mean, that's not that bad a thing to offer up. He is great. There's no question about it.
Phenomenal technician of the kid.
Right.
No doubt.
Now, I, on the other hand, they came along a little bit late in the game for me. About the time they came along was when I was starting to pay attention to other stuff.
Like country?
Like country, yeah. And I kind of missed out on the early stages of Rush. And by the time I got into a place where they were thrust in front of me, like it or not, I really didn't have much of an idea how big they were. But I soon enough caught on and have been whipped into submission by them ever since.
They are the biggest underground band of all time.
Now,
that's the only way I can put it.
Where they play? The Granada?
It played at superpages.com center.
Close.
And that place was packed. I would say there was between 13 and 15,000 people there.
Was a lawn
all
packed?
on the lawn
Yes.
and everything?
Yes.
That's like close to 20,000.
Even the corners of the lawn?
Mike, it was a sea of people as far as I could see.
Then that 20,000 we determined, 18 to 20,000?
I don't think it's that many. I think they max out at about 14, 15.
Well, whatever the case, that's a lot bigger crowd than I ever suspected current Rush would ever get. So what was the, now I've never met one girl who liked Rush.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Let me tell you about the traveling party first off. Now, I talked about this one night with a buddy saying, wouldn't it be kind of funny and cool if we could get Rush tickets and go see them, because I'd never seen them. I was like, yeah, why don't we work on that? So I asked around up here. There were no tickets. I called every Live Nation contact that I had. Wasn't going to happen. So I'd given up on it until I came to work on, I believe it was Friday, and Melissa, our promotions director, said, look, there's 3 pair of unclaimed prize tickets that we had given away upstairs and no one came and got them. So if by 4:30 today on Friday they're unclaimed, they're yours. So no one picked them up, so I got 6 Rush tickets and took 5 Rush knuckleheads with me. And we were excited.
Now, do all these guys like Rush, or was it just an excuse to go have fun?
No, all of these guys grew up listening to Rush. Brent Best from Slobberbone, it was his biggest musical influence as a kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah. A couple of the guys from Shibboleth, James and Matt Kellum, and Tony and Jess from Slobberbone. So we had a traveling party of 6, hopped in a big van cab, and rode all the way down to Super Pages to get ready for Rush. And
smoke pot?
No. When we walked into the place, we had gotten there, and they had just started Spirit of the Radio. which was their first tune, and that place erupted. Now, first, when I walked in, we're trying to, make our way in there, get a beer, and go to our seats, and I hear my name being yelled, and I'm kind of thinking, I just want to ignore this and move on. And
like you do most P1s.
Exactly. So I looked over, and lo and behold, if it isn't the good officer, petty theft guitarist Bill Porter, and he looks at me and he goes, "What the F are you doing here?" And I said, "Look, dude, I was in junior high. I used to really like these guys, and I'd never seen it before, and it was free, and we had a good party going, traveling together, so why not?"
Now, Bill, your guitar player, Mike, isn't he like the biggest Rush freak ever?
Enormously so.
Dude, he's in a Rush tribute band called Frush.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
If that tells you anything. This is his petty, right?
Yeah.
For Mike.
Yeah.
So we roll in there, and back to your point, Corby, that's one of the first things I noticed, and that's one of the things that I was to expect, that out of, say there were 15,000 people there were 14,895 wieners.
Were any of the 105 girls hot that you might have seen?
I saw one girl that was Rush hot. Now, we have sports hot, we have TV hot, we have news hot. She was Rush hot. So if you drug her out of a Rush concert, you were probably feeling okay about yourself.
But once you hit the street, not so much?
Not so much. Once you hit the streets of Fair Park, not so much. So they roll through a couple of hits. Now, the thing was that they were going to do is 2 full sets. Started at 8 o'clock, do an hour and 20 minutes of one set, take about a 25-minute intermission, and then come back, and for their last set, they were going to do all of Moving Pictures in sequence in its entirety from start to finish. So the first set, like I said, start with a couple of hits, and then here comes the new stuff.
Uh-oh.
And for the better part of an hour and 15 minutes, it was all stuff from like 1990 until now. New record stuff that hasn't been released yet.
And?
I mean, it's fascinating to watch them play because they are very adept, but most of the tracks I didn't know. So I was kind of there. I was there to hear the hits. I was there to hear maybe some of the deeper cuts from albums that I was familiar with.
Was that a big P time for everybody, or is that the type of crowd that will sit through
sat
anything?
Through all of it? And let me tell you how I know this. Because I had taken a look at the set list, and I knew how they were going to end the first set. So about 2 songs before the end of the first set, me and Brent split for the pavilion to go to the bathroom. Because I had been warned to do this.
Yeah.
So we went to the bathroom, and when the last chord, the last drum hit of that first set ended, it was a sea of black-shirted, gray-haired ponytail guys
running for the bathroom,
sprinting to the
I would think it would be a sea of expos.
Sprinting to the men's room like they had been freebasing Flomax the whole set. And I wish that I'd have had a camera on me, because when it was all said and done, by the time that intermission was in full swing, there were probably 300 to 400 people, men, in line at the men's room, and you look over to the ladies' room, not one person.
Oh my God, I would have gone in there.
There was not one single soul in line at the ladies' room, and up to 300 or 400 men in line to get into the men's room. Wow. It was unbelievable. And yes, Expo was there.
Of course he was.
Expo had already seen him 5 nights in a row. He had gone on tour with Rush.
You're kidding.
No, he had been to like Houston, San Antonio, Tulsa, and then Dallas.
Well, didn't Bill, your guitar player, go to a couple of shows too?
Yeah,
He'd seen them the night before in Houston.
And it's the same set list, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine
so.
so.
No, exact same set list.
How incredibly boring. How overwhelmingly boring.
What to do?
To go see the same set, whether it's 2 nights in a row or 5 nights in a row like Expo did.
If I'm going to do that, that's got to be a show that I really, really, really dig and really want to see.
They do. Bill and Expo really dig it. They really wanted to see it.
So
more power to them.
The second set, they take a 25-minute break?
Yeah, about 20-25 minutes. We get back to our seats, and here comes the second set, which is prefaced by really funny, really intricate, well done video presentations that the guys themselves were starring in as actors. And it was basically the history of Rush, because this was called the Time Machine Tour. So they did like this whole history of Rush, and they had like little babies playing instruments with long black wigs on, and it just kind of went through the whole thing. And it was like they'd spin the time wheel, and it would then be playing Tom Sawyer on a sound stage in the years 2112, and it's all those guys with long white beards playing in wizard outfits. And then back to like 1955, and they're like these 2-year-old babies playing. It was really, really funny. I mean, they've got that Canadian sense of humor down. They don't take themselves seriously at all. They know they're ridiculous. They know that chicks don't like them.
They're like the only band in the world that has trouble getting laid at their concerts.
Right. So they start the second set, and
them and Petty Theft.
Right.
Yeah.
They start off with Tom Sawyer, and they play moving pictures from Tom Sawyer all the way to Vital Signs, and it was awesome.
Okay, so what are the big hits off that?
You've got Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight, Camera Eye, Witch Hunt, and Vital Signs. The songs in order. So you'd probably recognize Side A.
Yeah.
Side B, nobody really knows, but that was my favorite part of the night, was the Side B of Moving Pictures. And then after that, they did a couple new things. They did the trilogy of 2112, and then I think they split, came back and did something, and they ended with the first track off their very first album. They played Working Man, and then they were done. The crowd was so into it. There was
no trees?
No, they didn't play Trees. They did play Closer to the Fart.
They did?
Yeah. But the thing that was really funny is after they left the stage, after their encore, everybody's starting to leave, but then the video board comes on, and it shows them backstage like they're walking to their dressing room, okay?
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, well, it's a great show. And it's like, how many girls did you have in your section tonight? And Alex Lifeson's like, I think I set a record with 8. So they're very aware of what's
very good.
They were so funny and so self-deprecating. So they walk into the dressing room, and who is in the dressing room? None other than Jason Segel and Paul Rudd from
I Love You Man?
I Love You Man, who was their whole love of Rush is pretty much the premise of that film.
Have you seen this, Mike?
Yes, I have.
It's a pretty decently funny movie.
Yeah, it is.
So Paul Rudd and Jason Segel's like back there eating Neil Peart's sandwich that has a sign over it that says "Do not eat." Neil Peart sandwich, and he's back there gnawing on that. And Paul Rudd brought his double neck 9-string bass guitar to have Geddy Lee sign, and there's just this funny exchange. It was obviously pre-recorded, and they do it at every show, but it was really, really funny and well done. And man, I had a blast. It was such a good time to be there with those guys. And man,
that's
I'm
a
looking
long
at
show for you.
3 hours, man. It was
your
3
attention
hours
span
long.
is about an hour and 40 minutes for rock.
But the thing is even during like some of the songs that
More
I
like
remember
20 minutes.
and I really liked, it was so fun to look over and see Jess like air guitaring and Tony's like air drumming and singing out loud. And it was just as much comic relief as it was a nostalgic concert experience, because they would do some stuff that, like in the middle of YYZ, where they have those breakdowns and they take these little instrumental breaks that are just fast and insane. You're not like going, yeah, you're laughing.
Right.
You're like, this is so ridiculous, you know? And they know they're ridiculous, and that's why I like them. So go Rush, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Well, that's cool. Did you like it?
Yes, Corby.
Okay.
I just
I had
spent
to ask.
20 minutes telling you I liked it.
I can't imagine anybody being this amused by Rush.
It was hilarious.
It's a lot of folks out there, man.
And another thing, real quick, there's a new ruse on beer sales, if you're not aware of this. But if you want to go out there and get a beer, you can't. Because all brand name beers are now sold in giant 24-ounce aluminum cans, and they're $12. WTF!
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
It's quite the scam they have working out there.
You can't buy one beer, you have to buy 2. And they're $12.
They're like this tall.
Yes.
They look ridiculous. You're walking around with a dumb canister.
Wow, is that so bad? I mean,
looks like you're drinking out of
want to drink beer, don't you want to drink beer?
It looks like you're drinking out of a tennis ball can. It's stupid.
And at the end of the night, I think I spent $48 on beer.
On beer,
Yes.
yeah. For 4 of them. Mm-hmm. Well done. I'm glad you went.
You missed out, man. It was good times.
All right, up next.